Hello, I'm Avis Kalfsbeck, and this is the Peace is Here podcast. Welcome to Peacewarts, School of Peacecraft and Inquiry, where we practice the skills of peace through short classes. We take the peace work seriously, but not ourselves. If you're joining us mid-school year, you're not late. Orientation begins at episode 198. Welcome back, Peace Scholars. This is Chronicled Courage 101 in the Hall of Records, where we keep our eyes on the evidence. Today, we look at a story that was nearly erased by the very systems it saved. For decades, the name Vasili Arkhipov was unknown to the public. He was a ghost in the machine. In our last class, we saw how two empires built a covenant in stone. Today, we see how the physics of escalation, a force that feels as unstoppable as gravity, can be broken by a single human no. As the philosopher Albert Camus wrote, a man who says no does not only deny, he says yes to the existence of a boundary. The concept, peace as living architecture. We often think of peace as something built by committees in sunlit rooms. But peace is also a living architecture of restraint, often built in the dark under pressure against every instinct of the system. The history, the manual override. The system designed to escalate. On October 27, 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Soviet submarine B-59 was submerged in the Atlantic. It was surrounded by U.S. destroyers dropping signaling depth charges to force it to the surface. Inside the sub, the air was thick with carbon dioxide. The temperature had soared to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and the crew had been out of contact with Moscow for days. They believed World War III had already begun. The B-59 was armed with a nuclear torpedo. The system was designed for launch. It required the consent of 3 senior officers. Captain Savitsky and the political officer Maslenikov had already agreed to fire. The physics of the moment demanded retaliation. The reframing of the crisis. The third officer was Vasili Arkhipov. He was not just a bystander, he was the chief of staff of the flotilla. He had survived the K-19 nuclear accident a year prior, where he witnessed firsthand the reality of institutional failure. When the other 2 officers were ready to turn their keys, Arkhipov stood his ground. He didn't just offer a delay, he offered a change of frame. While the others were framed by mindset of war has begun, Arkhipov reframed the situation to, we are being asked to surface. By refusing his consent, he broke the automatic cycle of escalation. He argued that the Dept charges were signals, not attacks. The pattern of restraint. Arkhipov is the clearest case, but he is not an anomaly. History is full of these moments where someone chose to reframe the conflict rather than simply react to it. We see this in Stanislav Petrov, 1983, who correctly identified a satellite alarm as a false alert and refused to report it as an incoming strike. We see it in the Norwegian rocket incident 1995, where Russian radar operators and President Yeltsin showed restraint when a scientific rocket was mistaken for a nuclear missile. These stories are often buried because the system rewards escalation heroes, not restraint heroes. The thesis, restraint under fire. We often mistake peace for passivity, but what Arkhipov did was a high-stakes military act. It required more discipline to stay the hand than it would have to pull the trigger. Escalation models assume symmetry. If you hit me, I must hit you back harder. Arkhipov introduced asymmetry. He refused to follow the script. This is the pattern of chronicled courage, someone noticing that the system is broken and deciding to act as the manual override. Peace survives not because our systems are safe, but because humans like Arkhipov are situated within them to say no. Your homework. 1. Look up the K-19 submarine accident 1961 or the Cuban Missile Crisis depth charge signals to understand the high-stress environment Arkhipov was working in. 2. Write down one question about any of this episode's topics. If you don't have a question, just write no question. 3. Optional. Journal. Think of a time you were in a heated situation, an argument or a group decision. Looking back, was there a different way to frame the problem that didn't involve a winner and a loser? How would that change of mind have altered the outcome? The ink of the future. In the Department of Chronicled Courage, we believe that the individual is the ultimate guardian of the record. A treaty is only as strong as the person who chooses to honor it when the lights go out and the room gets hot. You are not a cog in a machine. You are a living part of the architecture. The power to break the cycle of a conflict exists within the capacity to change the frame of the moment. Until our next lesson, keep your eyes on the evidence. Class dismissed. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to support the Pieces Here podcast, the most helpful way is to follow it wherever you're listening. It helps share the message with others. You can also support this piecework at my Patreon for $4 a month, about what a used paperback goes for these days. Just go to Patreon at patreon.com/Avis Kalfsbeck. That's AVISKALFSBEEK. My most recent book is Monomutante, a best friend eco-fiction novella about food systems, featuring Tilly, Camas, Pedro, and the rest of the gang. It's book 6 in the Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series and is available wherever you buy books. You can find all of my peace projects and stay in touch at aviskalfsbeck.com. Music is by Javier Peque Rodriguez. Sound effects are from Pixabay. Regarding peace, we need not delay or despair. We are not late. We are right on time to love. We are all scholars of peace. Listen for the peace.